Coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Quinn Spinn. Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of The Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, The Quinn, as I'm known on the program, and I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. For the official podcast of ECM Collective, I almost screwed that up again and said Underground Music Collective, but we're not that anymore. Officially, as of this past Monday, October 2nd, we are ECM Collective. We have evolved like the beautiful Pokemon that we are. Anyway, you just heard Revel 9's All I've Become, our opening theme song here at the Quinn Spinn since the great year 2014. And it will be until the very end of days. And we are sponsored only in my dreams by Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. And I am joined for the fourth time, for the record-breaking fourth guest appearance by the one and only Erin McLendon. Erin, thanks for coming on again.
Thank you for having me.
It's my honor, and congratulations on being the most frequent guest to the Quinn Spinn in our 10-plus year history.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that it's me.
Well, we've done a lot in a short period of time.
We have.
Yeah.
Since 2019, I think, was when we met.
Yeah, and then you came on in 2020 or 2021. I don't remember which.
It was in person. My first interview.
It was in person, so it's probably 21.
It might have been the end of 2019.
Oh, maybe.
Or
yeah.
maybe it was the beginning of 2020.
Yeah, I'll have to go back. I'll get the research team on that. But
yeah.
So it was then, and then you and Katie Thompson came on to talk about Music on the Move.
Yes.
And then you and the whole March showcase lineup came on this past March, and now we're back to talk about the October showcase.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I'm going to ask you the three standard questions with a twist. Those three questions, as you know by now, are: who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you come back to this show so many times?
My name is Erin McLendon. I am a country singer-songwriter, and I'm also the owner of Music on the Move Studios, which is a company that, and you coined it best when you said it was a musical ecosystem. And it is... We have a bunch of projects. We have, obviously, the showcase that you were just talking about, which is an all-female showcase, all-female lineup, pop-up shops, and house band, the Hellcats. We have, obviously, Paradox Jukebox, the podcast, which you've been on, which Katie heads up, my business partner. And then we also have a virtual music education studio. And as of last year, we have a blog. So we have a lot.
There's a lot going on.
There
always,
is.
At all times.
But the purpose of it is to create... The reason I started Music on the Move as a showcase back in 2019, which I can't believe it's been almost 5 years.
You got a 5-year anniversary next year coming up.
Yeah.
January.
So it's soon.
Yeah. Coming up very soon.
But, the reason I started it is because I joked that it was an accident, and it was. But after the first one, I was like, oh, I really enjoy doing this. I really enjoyed creating space for women and creating opportunities for women like me who don't necessarily have the opportunities. Like, they don't know where to go other than writers' rounds. And they don't know where the community is, So I just wanted to create a community.
And you've done that, and the community continues to grow.
It does.
And I'm excited to touch on a lot of that growth here on this episode. Even from March to now, like, so much has happened. And
oh my God.
Just to kind of get out in front of it here, October 10th, which is next Tuesday, as of this premiere date, is the perhaps biggest showcase yet for Music on the Move at 3rd and Lindsley here in town.
It's true. We've put, not that I don't put a lot of effort into every single showcase, but the pieces have fallen into place this time. And we've partnered with some incredible companies. I think Change the Conversation was the first one, and everything else snowballed from there. And Change the Conversation is this awesome organization headed by Leslie Fram of CNT, Tracy Gershon, the publisher, and Beverly Keel, who is the Dean of Students at MTSU. So that's 3 really powerful women.
Heavy hitters.
And they started Change the Conversation because of Tomatogate back in 2014.
2014.
I believe it was either 2014 or 2016. It was an even year. But a radio programmer said, I think it was either a DJ or the program director said, in country music, people don't want to hear women. If country music were a salad, like, the men are the lettuce and the women are the tomatoes. Not everybody likes them, so you don't necessarily need them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I believe we've talked about this on a previous appearance too.
Yeah.
And how country radio in general has been very skewed heavily in the direction of men, and particularly white men, singing about trucks and beer for the longest time. And so there's a lot of change happening within that ecosystem right now. Still a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
You know, as I think we've addressed on each appearance, and what Music on the Move is here to do is to help create that equity and help give women an opportunity, not just in music, but women entrepreneurs. You know, you have the pop-up shops as well, and really create this community that goes beyond the showcase and lasts throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, and it's just so fun to watch. You know, like I hosted and I performed because I am first and foremost a performer and a singer. I was joking with one of my friends who was helping me with a Facebook ad. I ask everybody for help, and I said, "I'm sorry, but I'm a singer songwriter. My expertise is singing, teaching singing, and performing, and that's where it stops. Like I'm not." Like I can learn a new skill, but it's not what I want to do with my time.
Right.
But change the conversation to go back to that. They're an organization that fights for equity, not just in payment, but in plays and in opportunities for women. And so I thought it was just like a perfect marriage of our little company and their big companies. And I'm just so excited that they agreed to help us promote this.
Yeah. Incredible organization doing incredible work for female artists, you know, again, creating that equity. And there's something to be said there too for finding those partners who are moving in a similar direction to you and joining forces. We're only as strong as we are together. You know, like, and that's something I think we've both learned a long time ago is like, you can only get so far by yourself, you know. Music on the Move as its own entity can only get so far by itself. ECM, the Quinn Spinn, whatever I'm doing, like, you know, that one thing, whatever thing we're focusing on at the time, like, can only get so far if you're not bringing different voices in the mix, different ideas in, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so what this does is it gives you that. It brings in those different ideas, those different voices, and you get to figure out how to build together. And in the process, you know, since Change the Conversation came on, you've had other partners come on, media partners and the like. So this is becoming a pretty big deal here in town, you know, especially this time around here at Third and Lindsley.
Thank you for saying that. And also to clarify, Music on the Move as a showcase is a full band showcase. It's not a writer's round, which a lot of people have been asking me, when's your next writer's round? And I'm like, I don't put on writer's rounds.
Right.
I put on a show because I love to put on a show. I was a theater kid.
Yeah. You need all the bells and whistles.
I don't know if you've noticed, but I kind of love drama. So not in the bad sense, but I love dramatics.
So is there going to be a grand finale?
There's always a grand finale. It's called When God Made a Woman.
That's right.
But no confetti cannons this time.
Oh.
We did have one show because it was when we did one of the marathon shows. I think you were there.
Yeah.
But Casey Ray, the production manager at Marathon, came up to me. He was like, "Hey, there's a wedding coming up, and they wanted to use these confetti cannons for a picture, and they're like the little handheld ones." He goes, "Do you want to use this?" And I was like, "Yes." He goes, "I need to test it and see what it does. Do you want to use it?" I was like, "Abso-frickin-lutely." Always. I will always hold a confetti cannon and test it out during my show, please. But it was super fun. Hopefully I get another confetti cannon for this one, but that has to get cleared with Third and Lindsley first, so probably not.
Yeah. You got to go through the proper channels.
Yeah.
But there's still, you know, there's always hope.
Yeah.
That one day the confetti cannon will make its
There
return
will
to the
definitely
showcase.
be sparkles. I can guarantee sparkles.
Of course.
So.
Always sparkles.
Always.
And so you have brought in a lot of different partners into the mix. Of course, Lightning 100, you know, Third and Lindsley themselves are doing, you know, a wonderful job, you know, helping us promote in the lead up to this. And it truly has become this community effort. And when you first started it, you know, to now, like, how have you seen that community involvement grow? How have you seen the buy-in from other organizations, other artists, the women who own the pop-up shops? Like, how have you seen those forces combine in a more cohesive way over time?
You know, it's fun because everybody knows that Nashville is a small town. The longer you live here, the more you run into the exact same people.
Yep.
And so the golden rule is the golden rule. Treat others as you would like to be treated. So you can't piss anybody off.
Right.
You can't. But especially when you go into such a niche market as being a woman in the music industry, which it is a niche market. As many of us as there are, just those of us who are fighting. We're trying to grow that market. We're trying to grow that community. And it's interesting to me, the more I do this and the more I get involved in other organizations like Change the Conversation, like Women in Music Nashville, which is a networking group, like Women in Music Business, which are two different organizations, but we work together all the time. Like all these different organizations, you start to see the same people. And with Music on the Move, I've started to see the same people in other aspects. Like if I go to like a market, like it's basically pop-up shop market like I do, but on a bigger scale, like the Goddess Market in East Nashville. Or like you see a lot of the vendors work together, or Mary Jennings, who is one of our vendors for the next one. She does No Sass Creation. She creates bolos. She started Wino Bingo Night, which is once a month. You get to go play bingo, drink wine, and hang out with a bunch of people. And it's always people I know. And there's new people always coming into the fold. It is invite only. Sorry, guys. But but it's interesting just to kind of like, I'll see like my Hellcats playing for other people that I already know. Or they'll get an opportunity because somebody else within the fold gave them that opportunity. And it's just like, it's another networking event, but it's just like, it's snowballing. Am I making sense?
It does. It totally makes sense because, you know, I'm noticing that too within what's now the ECM ecosystem, right? And like, so many of us who have now been here for years, you know, who, you know, we're just launching our platforms maybe a few years ago or finding our footing with our platforms a few years ago, are now like, we've all each of us individually, you know, and as an organization individually, like we've had our like trials and errors, you know what I mean? And we've had our chances to find out what works and what doesn't, what's aligned and what's not, you know, the types of people that gravitate toward our platform, the types of people who don't, right? And so I'm finding like within our ecosystem, like a more cohesive community working together on more things, you know, and that lends itself to now what we're doing with ECM, because like it's, you know, obviously music's a very central part of what we're doing, but it's also like the greater world of entrepreneurship and the creative hustle, right? And how all of those things feed each other. And over time, you do find those people. And to your point, Nashville is a very small town, you know, in that respect, especially once you've been here a while. But the truth is, it's a small world, you know, and technology.
Sorry.
Technology's made it a small world to where, like, you know, you can connect with people in other markets. And then when you're in that market, like, you've got a project already lined up with them, you know what I mean? And so, you know, I think to your point, like, you can't piss people off. You've got to be a good citizen wherever you are, and not just where you are physically, but like in whatever spaces that you're occupying, because if you're not, that is going to get around. And the last thing you want, especially in this globalized creator economy, is a reputation of being difficult to work with, a reputation of not being a good citizen for whatever reason. And that's something like your relationships are so important. And if you don't manage those relationships, if you don't do your part to help them grow, if you don't manage your own reputation, that's going to cause some problems for you at some point.
Yeah, it is. Honestly, like even in the early days of me being in Nashville, I went to Belmont University, and my first internship, I watched somebody's career just kind of go right in front of me. And it was somebody that I knew. And it was all because they had pissed off this one person who had more pull than they thought they did. And it was just insane to me to just watch that happen. And I wasn't particularly close with this person, but just watching it and being like, oh, that's how this goes down.
Yeah.
Cool. I do not agree with what that person did, but like what they did was wrong.
Right.
And so I understand how it went down the way it went down, but it's like, how did you think you were going to get away with that?
Right. Exactly.
And it just so happened that like I'm trying to say it vaguely, but what happened was this person, I think, was doing a project with either a videographer or they were recording a song and they never paid for it. And this person ended up working with one of my coworkers as an intern. But then this guy that she was working for sent out an email being like, here's my new intern. Turns out that producer was one of this guy's clients. And he goes, just to let you know, this is what happened. If you're working with her, we can't work together. And so he fired the intern.
Yeah. And it's that easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she tried to get another internship and it was already too late, but like word had already gotten around. And I don't think she's even in Nashville anymore.
Right. And that's the thing. Like those things, especially early on, could be the kiss of death.
Yeah.
You know?
And it was just like a shock to my system to watch it go down so fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just like that's not to say you can't be redeemed.
Right.
There was nothing wrong with this person. They were inherently a nice person.
Right.
They just screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like I said, like in this community, we're all here to support each other. And one of the things, like you said, about content and about technology is one of the things I've noticed is as much as people hate phone calls, I far prefer a phone call to an email or a text trying to like communicate something or especially when I'm first getting to know somebody.
Same conversations.
Just because they can hear my tone of voice, they can hear like what I'm asking, or they can just like hear the inflection rather than me sending an email, trying not to put in too many exclamation points, but also trying to find the balance of how many exclamation points, how many periods, is this even proper grammar? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, and you don't want to come off as standoffish, and the context gets lost in text so often.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the beginning, it's important to just have those face-to-face or phone conversations.
The amount of times, and this is especially true for women, I've sent off just like a yes or a no or an okay, and then a few hours later, I will respond being like, hey, sorry for the short answer. This is what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
And then most people will be like, I didn't think anything of it. But like, people have said that back to me, and I'm like, I don't think anything of it. You don't have to send me a detailed explanation as to what you were doing when you were responding to my text. I am understanding.
Right. Yeah.
But like so many people feel like they have to do that because it doesn't come across, you know, unless there's like an emoji or some form of exclamation point or punctuation.
Yeah. And I think too, like part of that culture of, you know, how quickly everything can go away, you know, does keep you on edge, right? You don't want to say the wrong thing. You don't want to do the wrong thing. I also think there's a darker side to that too, where like somebody could essentially blackball somebody for the wrong reasons as well.
And misinterpret it.
Yeah.
And it's so like, and I'm trying to like get back to the main point here because I feel like we could talk about this just for the whole episode.
The show goes where it goes. It's Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Oh, I love that. Used to be my favorite ride. And then it turned into Winnie the Pooh, and it's still my favorite ride. So I'm a Disney kid, guys. Just don't let the all black flute fool you.
I don't think we've ever covered that on an episode before.
The fact that I'm a Disney kid?
No, we definitely have.
Oh. I was like, I feel like I've talked about it every time I've been here.
Sarcasm. It's a gift.
And the importance of a phone call is so that your inflections can be understood, but apparently it just went right over my head that time. But what I was trying to say is just the importance of the community and knowing that you're all there because you want to build each other up, not because you're competing. It's just it's kind of like a okay.
Yeah.
It's relaxing.
Yeah.
And to an extent. We were talking about stress earlier.
Yeah.
But
well, the rising tide does raise all boats, and the more people that you have, like within your community, the more people, the more steady hands that you have, like the less that you have to take on yourself. And you know, as somebody who has struggled to delegate throughout the course of my 10+ year existence as an independent creative, like I am really now finally like coming around to the idea that delegation is a good thing and I need it. Like we have these community leaders, you know, that we've lined up, you know, that are going to help carry a lot of that load, you know, as far as like the events and that kind of thing. And it allows me to focus on the big picture that if you're doing everything yourself, you never get to focus on and you never get to build. And so by building your community, like you have those people that you can rely on. You have those vendors that have come back time and again, like Mary, like Rock and Boho, who like they're there.
This is one of their shirts.
Yeah. And Rock and Boho is really cool, and they're going to be there on the.
They are going to be there.
Yeah. So
Rock and Boho is going to be there. No Sass is going to be there. I have 2 more that are pending. So I'm excited to see if they'll come on. And they're 2 new ones. Yeah. So that will be really exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just it's fun to see this community grow, not just like as musicians, but also as entrepreneurs, because we can all help each other out.
Yeah.
And Lord knows, I am a frequent customer of all of the vendors we've ever
had. Which is important, you know, supporting the people in your network, you know, more than just the pat on the back, more than just a social media share, but like, how can we help each other win? How can I support you? How can I buy your product? That kind of thing. you know, and because we are all on our own creative hustle, we are all entrepreneurs, you know. Musicians, especially in this day and age, are not just musicians. They're doing everything to build a platform. You know, music is just a vehicle by which they do that.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's the same thing. You know, you go, you shop at these vendors, you know, comes back around, they might buy some of your merch, or they might buy a ticket to a show that they're not already a vendor at. You know, like it all comes back around. And the more you create that ecosystem, you create an economy, you know, and eventually the idea would be to build that up big enough to where it's self-sustaining and it doesn't lean necessarily on the traditional industry or a tastemaker to make it go. Like, you've got your own thing.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's really fun to watch.
Yeah. It's been fun to watch. I mean, like you said, you know, we've known each other since 2019, and just like seeing it from that point, you know, and now being involved too, full disclosure, you know, in, you know, helping make this thing go, you know, like it just does, like, it seems to get bigger every time. And I think, you know, focusing on the content last year has helped build community in the time between showcases and helped, you know, keep people engaged and active and aware of what's going on. So now we're getting more artists applying to the showcase. You know, we're getting like those showcase applications time, you know, as the guy who monitors the site metrics, like those are boom periods for us.
Yeah.
And that's where, like, it's an opportunity to like, you know, get the messaging out that we need to get out there, you know, while we have that audience.
And I just want to take a second. When it is showcase application time, we only have 4 slots to fill. And we usually have anywhere from 40 to 60 people apply. And I always feel bad. I always feel bad because I do listen to every single submission. And I'll tell a funny story about, not this time, but the time before, about how it screwed up my Spotify for a week. I'll get to that in a second, but it has nothing to do with your level of talent. There's so many talented people in Nashville, and there are people who apply more than once and they still don't get picked, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't like their music. It has to do with who the 4 best people are together. You know,
right?
It's like, I think it's a puzzle,
right?
You know, I think this would make a great lineup. It's kind of like when you go to Bonnaroo and it's like, oh, we're going to see Lizzo and the Foo Fighters. Well, yeah, that makes a lot of sense if you listen to both of their music next to each other. Or it has to make sense even though they aren't all the same genre.
Yeah, there's a sense of curation and a sense of flow that has to be there. Otherwise, it's just you're slapping acts on a bill. Right,
exactly. And it doesn't make any sense. And then you don't get people who want to come back.
Exactly.
So to everybody that's applied, thank you. I really appreciate you. You're all incredibly talented. And I know this sounds like a made up response, but like, please don't stop applying. Please. Eventually you will get your spot. Hopefully, as long as I can keep doing this.
Right.
And hopefully, like, my dream is to make this like a one-day festival where it's just like a bunch of people and a bunch of stages. But that's in the future. What were we talking about before that?
The Spotify thing.
The Spotify thing. Oh my God.
I was waiting for it.
Thank you. So I don't know what was happening in that span of time, but like, I really wanted to reach out to a lot of people and be like, are you okay? Because so many songs were so sad. Just like everybody collectively got dumped at the same time. And that's all I was hearing about.
Everyone wrote their sad girl song.
Oh my God. And literally my Spotify for a week made for you sad girl songs for a week. Or like moody playlist, in my feels. And I'm just like, oh my God. I had to like stop listening to Spotify for a minute and just like get back and let it reset. It was wild. It was so funny.
Everybody just needed a great big hug.
They did. I mean, they weren't bad songs, but I was just like, is everyone okay? I would have to like take a break from listening to submission. And I have to take a break normally, but like every 5 artists, Gerard would get a text from me and I'd be like, good God!
What is going on with these people?
Why are they sad? You even got a picture. I was like, look, this is my Spotify.
Yep. Of all the things you just named, like all the different playlists, like the algorithmic, like it was an ongoing thing for weeks. And I remember getting that text of like, Yeah, well, it was it was going into the dark season 2, winter and all that.
Yeah.
When the March showcase submissions were going down, and so everyone's releasing their moodier songs, their winter songs, their sad songs.
It was like December.
Yeah. So like the dead of winter, pretty much, and the music's fitting the mood.
Oh my god.
Because it's either that or Christmas songs, and the showcase.
And I'm
is in
somebody
March.
like I need happy songs and I need sunshine.
Mhm.
Seasonal depression is real.
It is.
It's so, especially here and especially in the month of February. Oh my god.
February's the worst month on the calendar.
October's the best one in Nashville in terms of weather.
Yeah, October weather is really solid.
February sucks.
February, it's just like 45 degrees and rainy for the entire month.
The whole month.
And just in general, February just sucks. Like
it's not even 45. It's like 30 something.
Yeah.
So then it freezes.
Yeah, it freezes overnight.
Yeah. And then nobody knows how to drive.
Nope. No, and that's when the roads are dry and it's 75 degrees. Like, forget it if it's raining like it is today. Like, you had an adventure coming over here.
I did. All right, back on track. Sorry.
Yeah. Live action Twisted Metal every single day in Nashville.
Oh,
if you remember
Lord.
that video game, leave a comment. So let's talk about challenges, because obviously,
the
when
sad girl song.
well, besides, having to, lift your spirits after the sad girl songs, like when we're building a thing, we encounter challenges. We encounter trial and error. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've faced in the process of growing the showcase and growing the Music on the Move platform in general? And what solutions have you found to them?
Getting people to believe as much as I do in what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I know nobody's going to believe in it as much as I do. Nobody's ever going to care about your project more than you are. That's just a fact. And if somebody does care about it more than you do, then you need to leave that project. But
I know.
But yeah, just getting people to care about it as much as I do. And like, it is something I think about daily.
Mm-hmm.
It is, how can I make this better? What else can I do to like get more ticket sales out there? How can I get the word out?
Mm-hmm.
And bless my sweet, wonderful publicist, Amelia. She has other clients and I don't treat her like she does. She has a lot more clients than me. And I text her like maybe every other day being like, hi, did we hear from Today in Nashville? Did we hear from Good Morning Nashville? Did we hear from these people? Did we hear from these people? And she goes, I promise I will tell you when they contact me. And I'm just like, okay, can I contact them? No, that's not professional. Got it. Okay. Just like, I'm not a patient person.
Right.
Never have been. Probably never will be. I have patience for other people and behaviors, but when it comes to waiting for something to come in, nope, none. Yep. Absolutely none. And so that's been a really big challenge, is realizing how long it takes to get something like a sponsorship, like a partnership, like an appearance, anything. Because the only way you're going to get word out about your showcase is to go out into the world and tell people.
Yes.
And so that's something I realized, after the pandemic, you just kind of like hoped things would stick. And everybody was just so excited. I didn't really have to do much to get the word out because people wanted to come. Now that we've kind of like hit back to the baseline, there's so much happening. It's like, oh, okay, I have to be in these people's faces.
Yeah.
They have no choice but to hear about me. And it's like trying to convince, and working with probably newer acts to Nashville.
Yep.
They don't understand that you have to tell people on the daily that it's happening.
Right.
And not just like, here's my show. It's like, hey, have you heard about this show that I'm doing? And you can like joke about it, but like trying to convince people and then them being like, oh, well, that's not really how I promote my shows. And it's like, well, that's great. This is not your show. This is something different. And you aren't the only one on this bill. We all have to work together to make this happen. Yeah.
It takes a sense of diligence, and especially like the level of hustle required is now back to pre-pandemic levels.
It absolutely is.
Because everything's happening all at once, more than ever, I think, in Nashville. Because like before the pandemic, I had, a good year or so before the pandemic, between me moving to Nashville and the world shutting down. And like there was a lot going on, but it's completely blowing it out of the water now, I feel like. Maybe it's just because I know Nashville better, but like I feel like there are more large scale events, which therefore can take away from ticket sales for smaller scale events,
Case in point, the March showcase.
They did that big thing at Bridgestone,
which I was in full support of.
Yeah.
It was the Love Rising concert, and it was in support of LGBTQ and trans rights. And I'm obviously in a huge support of that, but that is the people who went to that show are my demographic for my showcase. And I would literally see people that told me that they were coming post pictures from the show at Bridgestone, and I was just like, no. I had it planned for like 6 months, and then they announced 2 weeks before, and I appreciate that they pulled it together and that they did it.
Yep.
It's nothing against it. It was just unfortunate that
it was the same day.
To be. Yeah. It was like, why would you choose a Monday?
Yeah. But that just goes to show there's so much competition out there, and it can sneak up on you. And so you need to be out there. You need to be diligent. You need to be constantly on your hustle. You need to be staying top of mind. But because between all the things going on daily in a city like Nashville, plus all the noise on social media from everybody just inundating everybody else with content, like, how do you stick out? How do you stand out? And so that's a question I ask you.
And that's something, how do you stick out? I want to first address social media because first off, I think everybody should be in therapy. So I'm in therapy. And it's just, it's great. I just rant to her for half an hour and she tells me, yeah, you're right. That should be how you feel. Or we should probably just like navigate a different way. But that is one thing I've noticed is because everything's so social media based, it's taking a toll on my mental health. It's stressing me out. It's like my head hurts all the time. I have to wear blue light glasses whenever I'm working on my phone or on my iPad or on my computer because it's just been so much.
Yeah.
And that's also being in your 30s. But I've started to realize it's like, okay, I will not get on my phone or scroll or anything before 10 a.m.
Ooh, I wish I had that discipline. How's that working
I started it this week.
Yeah.
I've been pretty good because normally my husband and I, we get up, we go to the gym, and then like I'll use like Spotify or I'll use like my workout apps or whatever. But I won't like read my emails. I won't check my texts, anything like that. And then when I get home and I actually start working, instead of like when I'm waiting for something to come in or if I don't have anything to do, instead of sitting there and scrolling, I'll read.
Right.
Like I will find, or I'll like walk around for a bit or I'll fill up my water. I'll do something else for that time. I've only been doing it for a week and I've noticed a difference.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, this is what clarity feels like. But on the other end of that, you do actually have to like stand out in social media and you do have to make an effort. But the thing is, you don't have to constantly be on social media to stand out on social media.
That's correct. Yeah.
I think the best thing we started doing was a content planner. So I know every single day, and all it is, and we put it on the blog, how to create a content calendar.
Go check it out now.
Go check it out now.
musicalmovestudios.com/blog.
But we know every single day what we're supposed to be posting. And if we don't have the content, then we can switch it around. It's just like when you meal plan, it's like, well, I forgot to buy this. I guess I'll do this then. And then I'll go to the grocery store and get that. And you know, it's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same thing. And it just takes out the guesswork of what will work, what won't work, because you just pay attention to what you posted, research and development.
Yeah.
It's not, social media should not be hard.
And then you're not going on the fly. Like you have a plan, you know, you have that plan well scouted. You know what's been working for you, you know what's not been working for you, and you make those little adjustments. Yeah. But you can plan ahead instead of feeling compelled to like, I got to come up with something. I got to come up with an idea. What's everyone else doing? Oh my, everyone else is doing cooler stuff than me. Like,
oh my God.
You can go down that rabbit hole very easily, you know, and really feel like you're missing out or missing the boat, missing an opportunity on something. And really, it just comes down to like, what do you want to communicate and how effectively are you communicating that? Screw the noise. All the other noise from all the other people, like, you know, being in the coaching space now, you know, I see everybody trying to do their guru thing on social media. Like, if you aren't working this hard, it's like, well, I know how toxic that is because that was my mindset for a long time. And like, you know, but at the same time, it's like, well, in the back of my mind, I'm also like, well, does that work? Would that type of delivery get me more client? Like, you know,
well, you and I even talked about delivery.
Yeah.
It's like, if you are too much, nobody wants to like be around you.
Right.
Nobody wants to consume your content because you're too in their faces. You're
Right.
too intense.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not saying like you have to back off, because if your personality is just you're big and bubbly,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Cheryl Porter, the viral TikTok vocal coach.
Right.
She's not too much. She's just bright and bubbly and happy,
Mhm.
and she's delivering exactly what she's supposed to.
Yeah.
And I think that's a perfect balance of having that huge personality without just like shouting at people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, and without beating the dead horse so much that, you know, and you also have to vary the messaging too, you know, and you have to give people that variety, so it's not just the same thing over and over and over. We talked about, you know, when I had the Mr. Health and Fitness competition, every day I had to remind people to vote, and I'm like, I'm running out of ways to remind people to vote, you know. And then you get to the quarterfinals, and it really just came down to like, you know, who had the richest friends to buy the Warrior votes after a while.
For real.
Which, I mean, it was totally cool. We made the quarterfinals, top 0.5%, yay. But like after, like, as much as I would have loved to advance, there was a part of me that was relieved that I didn't have to keep posting about it.
I know.
Then you get back to the business, you know?
And that's the thing, after the day after the showcase, I don't want to do anything. Because it's just like, I just need to relax. I am dead to the world, because not only did I perform, but I put on everything, and it's been this big lead up for months. And again, I love doing what I do. It's just, you need that. You need that time to just decompress.
Yeah.
And I think I've been doing it so much now and being like, hey, the day after, don't talk to me.
Right.
That people kind of understand. And it's not out of anything like malicious. I need a day.
Yeah. We need those days and those moments, you know, and when we're available 24/7, and I run into this a lot myself, like, you know, like I've had people text me at 6 a.m. and then I've had people text me at midnight, and I'm like, in either one of those scenarios, you're not getting a response until like I'm back at
business hours.
Yeah. Like,
oh yeah. The do not disturb function on my phone has been the biggest blessing, because it starts at 7 p.m. Because I might be teaching until like 7:30, whatever. But it doesn't turn back on until 9 a.m.
Yeah.
And now I'm considering like not turning it back on until 10 a.m. And you can like have it so like if my family texts me or if my husband texts me, like that actually comes through. But if anybody else texts me, I'm not going to see it till 10 a.m., guys.
Right. Yeah. And that's important, is you need to be able to create some separation from your work.
And if it's that important, call me.
Exactly. But if it's just like the little stuff,
yeah,
that's something that can wait to the next day, then let it wait to the next day.
Yeah.
We all need to give each other space.
Yeah. You need, like, the hustle is real. Like, you need to hustle. You need to, but like, define your hustle. Find out what you actually need to accomplish, instead of like that giant to-do list of everything you have to do. It's overwhelming, and it's almost like debilitating to see it. And it's like, okay, let's just like spread it out throughout the week. These are the things I'm going to do today. These are the things I'm going to do tomorrow. This is something that can wait until next week. Like submitting to like newsletters and stuff. I was like, I'm going to knock out everything right now. And then I was like, you are 3 weeks in advance. No one's going to post it. It's not going to do what you want it to do. You should 2 weeks in advance. Or like with the Facebook and social media ads.
Yeah.
My money was going to be best spent 2 weeks beforehand. And then rolling out the posters 10 days beforehand. And just like a timing. You don't have to do it all at once. There is a lot you can do, like email lists. I do email blasts once a week because otherwise people will unsubscribe if you do daily.
Yeah.
Or they'll just delete it and never read it. But if you do it once a week, they might open it.
Yeah.
And we have a pretty good open rate on our emails.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I think getting more deliberate about that, and like knowing what message to deliver, when to deliver it, you know, is important, you know. And you don't want to, you know, going back to that point, if you don't want to just be shouting at people all the time, you know, you don't want to just be blasting your updates, blasting your content in people's faces. Like, because so much of this too, I think, is like meeting people where they are, you know, and giving them something they're going to care about, something that's going to resonate with them. And, you know, as artists, as musicians, as creatives, a lot of that has to do with highlighting other creatives, sharing updates that have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like, hey, my friend just released this song. Check it out. My friend just won this award. Check it out. Hey, my friend just made this cool post. Check it out. Like, nothing to do with me. You know, like, I'm building community in a sense. And I'm also like bringing those people into my community. So we're all building together and we're all supporting each other, you know, when there's something to support, which is pretty much always, right?
And that's why we started New Music Friday, because we wanted to bring other people that haven't necessarily been featured on our showcases into the community. just so they know about it, and like creating content that's not just like you're cut and paste, like I'm copying this trend from the like.
Yeah.
It is fun to see some people copy trends, like the physical ones. I think are really funny, or people try to do like these acrobatic things, and they're not an acrobat at all.
Yep.
You'll not see me trying those things. But like creating content that's interesting for people to see, like with the What's in My Cup series that we did, where we basically did what you and I are doing right now, where I interview them, but I ask them different questions. But we also talk about our favorite cocktails or our favorite drink and stuff like that. And we were going to do something else, but unfortunately the person we were going to collaborate with got sick. So hopefully we get to do something with her later.
Yeah.
Because she has a really cool blog that I would love to help people know about.
But finding ways to make it interesting.
But finding ways to make your content interesting, but also delivering the message of come to our showcase October 10th at 3rd and Lindsley. Tickets are available at 3rdandlindsley.com.
And it's a great lineup with an all-female performing lineup, as well as all-female pop-up vendors.
Yeah. And right now we've got Amber Sweeney, who's very like R&B soul, but like with a little bit of pop in it. We've got Kaylee Fetterman, who is fully pop, and her songs are super fun and happy sounding, but the lyrical content is actually quite sad. It's funny. And then we have Lunchbox Rachel, who's a rock star. And then we have Sarah Morey, who's a country singer. And you get to go get to know them on our YouTube page on the What's in My Cup interviews. And I even do an interview, and you get to meet Kate, my assistant and head of content creation, because I don't like doing it.
Delegation. Very important.
Exactly. But it was really fun to do those because I got to know the artist on a personal level, on a different level, rather than just being like, all right, I'll get to know you at rehearsal.
Yeah.
When I don't really get to talk to them at all.
Right. Yeah, because at that point you're in rehearsal mode, you're in business mode. It's like, okay, it's on.
And I do go to rehearsal for everybody just to make sure everything's sounding good, because sometimes you need somebody who's not actually playing it to be. It's a musical director position,
right? Yeah.
Which we're going to talk about on Monday with Amber Sweeney, who did my Music Minute Monday for us about being a musical director, because that's what she does.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
All right. So that, as of premiere date, just released this past Monday, October 2nd, on the Music on the Move blog at musiconthemovestudios.com/blog. There we go. You want to know what's in my cup? Liquid Death. Murder your thirst.
I have coffee and water. I'm not that exciting.
I'm fighting for that sponsorship right now.
I support it.
Yeah.
I support it.
It's good stuff.
It is good stuff. We are sponsored by Irresistible Force Publicity, my publicist, as well as Cozy Earth, the linens and athleisure company. They also just launched some skincare. They're on Oprah's favorite things list every single year for the last 5 years. They have these incredible, they have bamboo linens. Linens made out of bamboo, which apparently is incredibly soft. I haven't gotten to experience it yet, but
you will.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Yeah. Good friends of the show, Cozy Earth and Irresistible Force Publicity.
Yes.
And Oprah. And Liquid Death.
Oprah and Liquid Death. Give us a call.
Yeah. Call us.
Big fan.
So looking toward the future, not only for the showcase, not only for Music on the Move, but for Erin McLendon, what's on the horizon after October 10th?
I have a song coming out October 20th.
Look at that.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this song because it's completely different from anything I've ever done. Just the production of it, because I produced it with my friend Jared Anderson, who I wrote it with, and we wrote this song 6 years ago. That's the thing. I've been digging through. I have written a lot of songs, because I used to just treat writing sessions like meetings. I'd have at least 2 a week. And I've been digging through my catalog, just being like, well, what needs to see the light of day? And what can I pull from for a new song? And I came across this one, and I wrote it with Jared Anderson and Lexi Larson, who's now out in Nebraska. But it's about being in the breakup, not before the breakup, not after the breakup, in the breakup, fully in it. And because there's a transition period, because with when you're in high school, you break up and that's it.
Yeah.
When you're an adult, you might live with this person, or you might have you might have left some stuff at their place, or your lives become intertwined when you're an adult and you're dating somebody. And so this is about the halfway point. And the song is called Only Halfway Gone. And the chorus is, there's a half empty bedroom with half painted walls and half of your boxes are still in the hall. And I just can't move on. Full disclosure, this song is not about me. This is not about my husband. We're fine. I've released a lot of breakup songs recently.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all songs I wrote a long time ago or about somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know if it was Jared going through a breakup or Lexi going through a breakup, or we were just reminiscing about breaking up with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of how the song was born. It's just like that halfway point of just like, there's stuff still at my house. Damn it. Or like you find something, you're just like, you go through all those emotions again.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can hit you like, a little while after too. I remember when I was moving from Pennsylvania to here, like I had that happen where like, cleaning out drawers, it's like, oh, this was hers. Like,
yeah.
Like a year or so later. Yeah. Yeah.
Not like I'm happily married, but like I'll still be like digging through stuff and I'll find like a letter from an old boyfriend and I'm like, why do I have this? But you read and you're like, damn, I remember how I felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
So glad I'm better for it.
Yeah. But you're able to pull from it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing about being a songwriter. You have to like go back into that mentality that you were in, but you can write from a different perspective.
Right.
Like you can write as though you're still in it, or you can write because you're out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Only Halfway Gone comes out October 20th. Everywhere you stream anything. And I'm super excited. I hope you guys really like it. So.
All right. Make sure you check it out October 20th. And as far as the future of the showcase after October 10th, what are your big plans, goals, dreams? Of course, you mentioned wanting to one day put on a festival.
A big old festival,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've been going back and forth about doing twice a year versus once a year. It's just one of those things where, like I was telling you and Kate and Katie, like when I was trying to pull it out, I think it was 2021, 4 times in the year, just so many things kept happening and kept going wrong. And it just took a huge toll on my mental health. And a lot of people have been talking about mental health lately, but I don't think we talk about it enough. So I'm just going to keep talking about it. It just like, it was so stressful. I was like, we're going to do it twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, maybe we just do it once a year. We always do it in October because that's my birthday month. But it's also like, October's a really great time to be in Nashville because of the weather, because of the music that comes out. Everybody releases new music in the fall. People release albums in the fall. So it's just a really great opportunity to have a show.
Right.
Because you're kind of in the between of like festival season and then big concert tour season.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure is the answer.
All right.
We will see how this goes. Stay
tuned.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the honest answer. I don't know yet.
All right.
I want it to keep growing.
Yeah.
I want Music on the Move to keep growing. I want this the studio to keep growing. And Paradox Jukebox is going to come back in February. So I want that to keep growing. Just growth all around.
Bigger and bigger and better things on the horizon always. Erin McLendon joining us for the record-breaking 4th time as a guest on the Quinn Spinn.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming back so many times, and I'm sure we'll do this again.
Clearly, I like talking, so.
Yeah, and you'll be able to add to your record the next time,
Perfect.
Assuming that Lord Goldier Foundation Mecca don't come tie the record.
Oh, no.
Because then you'll have to break the record again.
Oh, no. Well.
It's on.
That's basically what your next season is going to be. It's just all of us trying to fight each other for that spot.
The gauntlet has been laid down. Before we wrap up, where can people learn more about you online?
They can learn more about me at Erin McLendon on Instagram, at Erin McLendon Music, everywhere else, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all that, ErinMcLendon.com. And McLendon is spelled McLendon. And then Music on the Move Studios is just at Music on the Move Studios on Instagram, TikTok. We used to have a Twitter. I don't really use Twitter anymore, or X, as it were.
It's still so weird to me.
It
trips me up. I don't like it.
Yeah. Threads, all the social media. You can go to musiconthemovestudios.com to check out our blog, to check out our music studio, to check out the showcase, everything, the blog, all the things. So.
All right. And this has been the Quinn Spinn. 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, YouTube, and more. Also on Instagram at Quinn Spinn Official. Again, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. Facebook's been kicking up as far as engagement too. So go find us there as well. The Quinn Spinn, spelled the same way as all the other places. ECM Collective, almost said Underground Music Collective again. Caught myself again. I have to catch myself. You can find that, of course, at nowecmcollective.com. We changed that over on Monday, as well as on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X. I messed it up. LinkedIn, YouTube, and of course, just anywhere and everywhere you can engage with us. Tap in. We've got a great community building. Join us.
Please do.
Join us. It's fantastic already. So many great conversations happening, including our first virtual coffee chat this Sunday, October 8th, which you got to be a member to be a part of.
Exciting.
Revel 9's All I've Become. Gonna take us out just like it brought us in. Grab some muffins on your way out and enjoy a tall, frosty can of liquid death.
Cheers, y'all.
Murder your thirst.